One of my favorite specimen plants to use in a garden is Japanese maple because they come in such a wide variety of shapes, sizes, and colors. So I'm here at More and More Garden Center with Megan, who is going to take us on a little walk through their selection of Japanese maples and tell us about some of her favorites.
Sure, and we've got 4 of my favorites, 2 of which I've already bought and the other 2 I'm planning on purchasing this week. So my favorite to start with is this red pygmy. I just cannot get enough of how thin this foliage is. But being a thinner foliage like that, it's going to need some shade during the day.
Okay, so maybe morning sun would be a good, think dogwood, redbud, that kind of thing with morning sun, afternoon shade, or maybe high dappled shade all day long.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it needs some sun throughout the day to help keep that red color.
Sure.
Which it's going to lose a little bit of the red as the summer progresses and the plant matures. But definitely needs some shade throughout the day to keep it from burning on the edges.
And the one that's over here next to me is a dwarf.
It is.
That will stay small its entire life.
Yeah.
So this one is called Kiyohime.
Yes, and I really like the little red edge that one produces on the new foliage, and then matures to a nicer dark green. But those are going to stay shorter, about 4x4 probably at maturity. So that one could even be a really good specimen for a bonsai.
Yeah, if you were interested in doing a bonsai or again as a container specimen.
Yes.
Most of these Japanese maples are really cold hardy, so they can be put into larger containers as they grow, and they'll live through the winter just fine outdoors in our climate.
Yeah, I have several of the smaller Japanese maples planted in containers, and I underplant them with miniature hostas.
Oh, fun, fun. And then what about the one that's over by you? I love that big broad leaf.
Yeah, so this is kind of a medium size at maturity. This is called Ruby Ridge, and she's going to get about 10 to 12 feet tall and 5 to 6 feet wide, but the big broad foliage is the standout on this plant, and it's going to keep that ruby color most of the summer.
Okay, now it almost looks like it has kind of a weeping habit to me. Is that going to be the case as it grows older, or?
It's kind of arching and a little bit spreading, but it's not a very wide plant. It only gets about 5 to 6 feet wide at maturity.
So again, a great plant for smaller gardens.
Yeah, definitely.
And then back at the very back of the table here, a really interesting one that looks very vigorous. It's, just the new growth on it already is 10 inches long at least, maybe even a little bit more.
That's Alarian. But the highlight on this one is the new foliage that comes out kind of a pinkish color. And then that pink will change to white later in the season. But as it continues to get new growth, you're still going to get new pink foliage on the new growth. So you've got a variety of color continuing throughout the summer.
Right, and that's one of the great things about a lot of the Japanese maples is that they get this initial spring flush of growth, and then that hardens off, and then they'll get another summer flush, and sometimes even a late summer flush. So you get, if you have this nice red color on the tips as it flushes out into spring, or this interesting pink and white variegation, you'll get several flushes of that through the course of the season, which is a nice thing. So they're great understory trees. They're great small yard trees. And one that just came to mind that I know you have here that I want to mention is Peaches and Cream.
Oh, I
That's
love
one of my favorites. I have it in the garden at home. It's just leafing out. The color of it is so spectacular.
Yeah, and it really does make you think of peaches and cream, like as a dessert treat.
Yeah, it's pink and cream as it leaves out with interesting veining in the leaves.
Yeah. It can get 12 to 15 feet at maturity, but it's slower growing than others. The more variegation on the leaf, I've found, can cause them to be slower growing.
Sure.
So that one is going to take a while to get mature, and really I've only ever seen them maybe 6 or 8 feet tall.
Gotcha.
I've never seen one full grown.
Well, and the other thing about Japanese maples, we talk about these mature sizes and their rate of growth and all of that. There are so many, of course, in Japan that have been used for bonsai over the years, and the fact that they're used for bonsai tells you that they're really, fine with being pruned. And if you do that in an artistic way, you can keep them to almost any size you want them for a longer period of time just with careful pruning.
Yeah, I hear a lot of customers tell me that they're worried or nervous about pruning Japanese maples, and I tell them if you do it at the right time of year, there's no need to be nervous about it.
Right.
I would just, do some research, and I've found that I have the best results if I prune kind of as they're getting some spring growth after our last chance of frost.
Right.
But I enjoy pruning my Japanese maple. I find it to be very relaxing.
I do too. I enjoy going out and doing that, and like you said, just as they're leafing out, because then I know for sure what's dead and what's not. They're always, it seems to me that there are always a few little twigs after the winter that are brown and dead and need to come out. And when they're leafing out, it's really easy to tell. This has a leaf on it, it's alive. This is brown and no leaves, it's dead.
Right.
And you take out any crossing branches or anything that's just unusual, and you can hardly go wrong.
Right, and just cleaning up the trunk and even choosing some limbs to keep that add more character to the tree rather than just a straight limb, that unless you're going for that look.
Right.
So it just kind of depends on what you want for each tree.
Absolutely. Well, these Japanese maples come, again, in such a wide variety of sizes, shapes, and colors. There's one for almost every garden. Megan, thank you so much for giving us a little of your time today and introducing us to some of these beauties.
Thank you so much for coming.
For inspiring garden tours, growing tips, and garden projects, visit our website at volunteergardener.org or on YouTube at the Volunteer Gardener channel, and like us on Facebook.